I'm sweating here. Normally, my wife, my brother-in-law and me would be in Alaska, gold prospecting now. But I'm sitting in a sauna beside a beautiful chalet in the area of Valais, high in the Swiss mountains. And my wife, my brother-in-law and me, we have really an awesome hiking vacation here. We planned to make a video about Alaska gold prospecting, northern lights, etc. The whole trip was fully booked, but COVID-19 destroyed everything. Well, whining doesn't help, so we postponed Alaska to 2021 and we refocused on something else. And as is so often the case, this something else turned out to be absolutely marvelous. Really marvelous. The Valais area is pretty dry, so the ancient people built miles of water conduits from the creeks to the villages and farmers. They are called Bisses or Suonen. So for starter and dessert we hiked some of these awesome Suonen trails. The good thing is they are flat and you will never get lost. Just follow the flow. There are more than 60 miles of Suonen in the area of Nendaz alone, and there are much more in the whole Valais. You could hike on them forever. But that's not gonna happen because there are some mountain peaks and ridges waiting for us. Our next hiking destination was surprising. Le Dent de Nendaz, the Tooth of Nendaz, is a little known mountain peak, not very spectacular at first glance. But man, this peak and its adjacent ridge is a real beauty. Check it out with your own eyes. There are two hiking trails up to the peak. An easy one with more serpentines and a pretty steep one. This is the steep trail which leads directly to the peak. But the easy one is awesome as well. At the southeastern sky, the mountain massifs rise even higher in the distance. Somewhere in this direction are Dom, Weisshorn, Dufourspitze, Monte Rosa and the star among them, the famous Matterhorn. In fact, none of us three has ever seen the Matterhorn in real. That's something we have to change, now, once in a lifetime.
La ferrovia del Gornergrat vi dà il benvenuto a bordo del treno con destinazione Gornergrat e vi augura buon viaggio. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gornergrat Railway welcomes you aboard the train to the Gornergrat and wishes you a pleasant journey. 本日はゴルナグラート鉄道をご利用いただきありがとうございます。Next stop, 次の駅は
Gornergrat Railways takes us higher and higher. At the station Rotenboden we are already more than 1,000 feet higher than the peak Dent de Nendaz. But this is not yet the top. The air becomes cooler with every minute, and thinner. And finally, there it is. Gornergrat and Matterhorn. But the Matterhorn is just one peak. There is so much more to see up here, so we hike on the Hoteligrat away from the crowds to enjoy some mountain solitude. We will see the Matterhorn soon again, but from another point of view.
Trittsichere, schwindelfreie und bergerfahrene Wanderer.
The white-blue-white sign indicates a so-called alpine hiking trail, which has higher requirements for the hiker. But it's not as bad as it sounds. You have to be careful anyway in the mountains. On the alpine hiking trails is usually only very little and easy climbing involved. And they are way less crowded than the normal white-red-white mountain hiking trails. But you shouldn't have vertigo. I'm sure you already noticed the massive glacier in the background. The following views are our reward for tackling the white-blue-white trail. It's the Gornergletscher, the second largest glacier of the Alps. His highest point is at an altitude of almost 15,000 feet. In the midst of this hostile desert of ice and rocks sits the Monte Rosa cabin. To reach it, you have to be an experienced mountaineer with glacier equipment. It's extremely impressive to see the result of the glacier's work. And then, there it is again, the Matterhorn. peak is on an altitude of 14,692 feet. The Matterhorn is also geologically fascinating. It is part of the Dent nappes, which were in fact formerly part of the African tectonic plate. So you may like it or not, but the Matterhorn, the ultimate Swiss symbol, is in reality an old African giant. On the White Red White Trail again, we hiked back towards the Gornergrat railway station Rotenboden. And another fantastic hiking day draws to a close. My brother-in-law had to leave the Valais a few days earlier, and my wife wanted to take a day off from hiking to stay at the chalet, relax and read some books. So I was on my own for the next day's mountain adventure. Works for me. High over Nendaz there is a mountain peak with the Via Ferrata, but today the high season for the cable cars is over, so tomorrow is a Monday and the cable cars remain shut down. Well, so I had to nick my wife's e-bike for the first few miles up. But from here there were still a few hours of hiking waiting for me to get even close to the Via Ferrata. To be honest, I'm kind of happy that the cable cars don't drive today, because that way I'm completely alone on the mountain. Well, maybe not completely. Somewhere in this area are some ibex around, so maybe I'm extremely lucky and can catch a glimpse of these very shy animals. But first I had to gain some altitude. Further up I noticed fresh ibex tracks, so I stopped now and then and observed the scree slopes. No ibex to see. I assumed they catched my scent and left long before I arrived. When you are filming in the mountains, you must never forget to pay attention where you place your foot. So I was focused on the trail. And then, after I carefully mounted this small cliff, came this insane, stunning, absolutely unexpected and magic moment. When I reached the top, I installed the camera on the tripod for another scene. Doing so, I paid no attention to the area on top of the cliff, And then I started the camera, turned around and looked right into 4 black eyes. I grabbed my camera again and see yourself. One of the 2 pals made a pretty clear statement what he thinks about me. So I left them alone and continued my hike. Right when I approached the top of the cable car, some mystic fog began to appear. Don't get a wrong impression. What I do here is actually not difficult. It's not even worth to be called climbing or even mountaineering. It's technically the same like mounting a ladder. It's just a 500 feet ladder. So the whole deal is just in my head. It's a matter of perception. I perceive it like so. But I guess a true mountaineer sees me more like so.
Sissi.
Bitte sprich nicht weiter, sonst vergesse ich jede Etikette und lauf davon.
Aber Sissi.
In fact, my wife loves the Sissi movies. Happy wife, happy life. And if you are a real mountaineer, I allow you to call me a sissy. First, because girls can be mentally extremely strong, and second, because regarding true mountaineering, I'm really a milquetoast. Or can we call it being alert? You know what? Having fears is not the dumbest thing. The real deal is how you cope with the fears. I simply intend to survive my adventures because I want to see my beloved wife again in the evening. And because I want to use that cozy sauna beside the chalet once again before I die. Anyway, I safely crossed the 3000 meter altitude and was approaching the peak.
Yeah.
Do you know this feeling after mastering fears and obstacles? When everything feels easy and the world is open to you? Let's enjoy this beautiful world.